I'm going to show you how to make 100% beeswax tapered candles. Now the reason I really like making my own beeswax candles, number one, it's far more affordable than buying them from a store. They are quite expensive. And number two, you can verify everything that goes into the candles. It's not a particularly well-regulated area, and oftentimes the cheap candles have all sorts of synthetic fragrances and other things that you might not want to be inhaling. Now, everything you need to make the candles is going to be listed with links to purchase things down below in the comments. The only thing missing from that list is going to be arguably the most important thing, which is the actual beeswax. I recommend you look for a local vendor to acquire your beeswax. I got this off of Facebook Marketplace from a local vendor. Other than that, you're going to need some cotton wick, channel lock pliers, some removable split shot sinkers. Now these are actually fishing weights. And then crucially, for the tapered candles, you're gonna need the actual molds as well. So I picked these up on Amazon. I got 4 of them to start with, and I just picked up another 4 so that I can run 8 candles at a time. One other thing that is going to make our life a little bit easier, and that is some Blue Tack putty. This is a non-toxic brand that we're going to be using to plug up the gaps in our taper mold. Another thing that's definitely beneficial is having some parchment paper. So when you're actually doing the pouring, if wax is falling down, that it's just landing on the parchment paper, it makes cleanup a whole lot easier. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is get your beeswax on the hob, because depending on how much you're going to be melting, it does take a little while to melt, and it's not something you want to rush. So right here I have a double boiler set up. So I just have a shallow amount of water in this pot, and then an old can that I had and made sure was clean. I put my beeswax in there, and this just allows us to make sure it's a nice, gentle, controlled heating up period. We don't want to be too aggressive with how we're heating it up. You really want something that has a funnel and is going to allow for controlled pouring. So we can see here that this has the funnel. Okay, so now my beeswax is melting. In the meantime, I am going to set up these taper molds. So I'm going to measure out my wick. I'm going to measure the whole width, the whole length of the mold, and then a couple of inches either side for good measure. All I'm going to do right now is thread the wick all the way through the mold, like so. And we'll just leave it there for now. Okay, so now all of the wicks are loosely in the molds. What we want to do is affix the top and bottom. So now we've got the one end tied in a knot, it's not going anywhere. And now for this bottom end, this is where these weights come into play. I like the weights because they help to keep the wick nice and taut. I'm sure there's many other ways of doing this, but found a pack of 20 weights, $2 from a local fishing store. That's where the channel lock pliers come in as well. I can push the wick nice and tight. I can slip on a weight, and then in one hand I've got the wick tight, I've got the weight in place. I'm going to come in with my other hand with the pliers, tighten that weight up, and there we go. So now this is going to stand up like this. We're going to pour in from the top. There's one more thing left to do here, and that is this Blue Tack. I like to do is just come in. You actually don't need much. Used maybe more than I needed to there. I'm going to just push that in nice and tight. Then we have a taut wick, and we have the hole is plugged up. So when we pour the wax in here, it's going to stop it from leaking. We're going to bring this all together. I'm going to get my wax here. And we're going to start pouring. Now, one thing I do just as a precaution is I'll just pour a tiny bit into each one. And so what that does is it ensures that if there were any gaps left at the bottom that my blue tack didn't quite plug up, then this little bit of wax going down there is going to set and plug up the gap. So just a little precaution. As you'll see, I am not the neatest person by any stretch of the imagination, and that's okay. I put it down to being a left-hander, but we thought ahead. We put our parchment paper down, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now I've gone through each one, just put a little bit in. Now I'm actually going to pour each one. Okay, so I've done my first pass. Now I'm going to tap on each one. Alrighty, so I'm going to come back in 5 to 10 minutes and just top up each of these to make sure that they're nice and full. And hey, that's about it. We got some candles on our hands. I'm going to come through now, top each one of these up. All right, done. And what I found was the bit of wax that was in here, it was maybe not even halfway full, was actually enough to do all of these candles. So a little bit actually goes a long way. It's great to just pick some dedicated containers for this instead of trying to clean the wax up each time, which for me is not a fun time. I just have these, and these are my dedicated candle making vessels.